The greatest and most painful lesson I had to entirely unlearn over the course of my life is the myth of hyper-independence. The deeply ingrained belief that my safety was directly tied to my ability to handle everything alone, protect everyone else, and never show a single crack in my own armor. For a long time, I wore my self-sufficiency like a badge of honor, completely unaware that it was actually a very heavy survival shell. The backstory of this lesson stretches across the multi-focused chapters of my life. When I was navigating the music and entertainment industry in Chicago and Atlanta as a recording artist and a young executive, I was operating in a fast-paced, highly competitive, and male-dominated corporate arena. I learned very quickly that to survive, protect my creative assets, and command respect in the executive suite, I had to be bulletproof. I carried that same superwoman blueprint straight into the entrepreneurship world, where I opened my own salon studio, stepping into the role of the ultimate provider, leader, and protector for my staff, my family, and my community. By the time I transitioned into behavioral health and began pursuing my doctorate in psychology, this survival mechanism had fully solidified. I became a master at holding space for everyone else's trauma, diagnosing root psychological conditions, and mapping out structural solutions for community systems change. I was the person everyone called in a crisis. But behind closed doors, my internal landscape was running on absolute fumes. I was pouring from an empty cup because my hyper-independent programming told me that asking for help, expressing a personal need, or admitting that I was exhausted was a sign of weakness or failure. I had built a fortress to keep myself safe, but I had accidentally built a prison that isolated me from receiving the very care I so freely gave to others. The turning point came when the physical and the emotional weight of carrying everyone else's world finally caught up to my own nervous system. I had to face a harsh, sarcastic reality check from the universe. I was a doctoral level expert in human development and emotional regulation, yet I was judging myself for having a human heart. I had to realize that micromanaging external circumstances and overfunctioning for others wasn't true security at all. It was just a trauma response masquerading as strength. Unlearning this lesson required a radical heart-centered rewiring. I had to look into my own ancestral cabinet, sit with the raw vulnerability under my armor, and understand that true sovereign strength includes the courage to be tender. I had to practice the terrifying art of lowering the drawbridge and letting the right people pour back into me without keeping an emotional balance sheet. Today, this unlearning is the very foundation of my clinical and coaching work. When I wrote The Spiritual Dimension of Healing, Integrating Wholeness in Healthcare, I wrote it as a recovering hyper-independent woman speaking to a world full of people who are exhausted from pretending they are fine. I want my clients and supporters and readers to understand that you do not have to earn your right to rest. And you do not have to be indestructible to be worthy of love either. True safety doesn't come from building walls that prevent all connection. It comes from feeling secure enough in your own skin to say, I'm doing the best I can, and I cannot do this alone.